But they had certain games like away to Athletic Bilbao, they drew. They lost away to Getafe, a match they should never have lost. You know, you look at the Osasuna away was another one they should never have lost. But, you know, there was a lack of consistency for about 5 or 6 weeks, and I think that's what put them under the pressure they were under, and it's blew the league title for them.
Guardiola said in his press conference this week, I've made mistakes, but I have no complaints about myself. Shouldn't have too many complaints, but what mistakes has he made? Listen,
he's very critical of himself. He hasn't made that many mistakes because he's entertained us with some of the best football. I think I've never seen better football than what's come from Barcelona over the last 4 years. But he's very critical of himself, and he demands an awful lot more, and that's the reason why he's leaving the club. But he also needs a break himself. I don't think he's made too many mistakes.
2 individual awards still to be won, of course. The Pichichi, the top scorer, and Zamora, the goalkeeper, conceded the least goals. Messi on 50. I mean, just what kind of an achievement is that?
Well, if he doesn't become the Pichichi, I'm going to eat my hat, because...
Well, no, he needs at least 6
He needs at least 6. It depends what he does tonight. Messi will want to finish on a high note. But, I mean, he said that the barrier's been raised. You know, you talked earlier, Scott, 93 points is what they could end up on, which would have won out of the last 14 out of the last 16. The barrier's been set so high. The players ask so much of each other. And, again, it's Messi's putting the barrier even higher still. He's on 72 goals for the season.
Could he repeat that?
50. Oh, I said last year he couldn't improve on what he did, and he has. And I said the same about Ronaldo, and Ronaldo's done the same. So, you know, it's getting better and better. The competition between these 2 players is fantastic, and long may it continue.
And in goal as well, Victor Valdés. Pinto's injured, but he should be OK for the Copa del Rey final. He's 4 goals better off than Iker Casillas. Looks like he's going to win the Golden Zamora.
Yeah.
Has he been the best goalkeeper for you?
Well, he's played in front of the best defence and conceded the less goals, so he has to be the best goalkeeper. So credit to him, and good luck to him in the future.
OK, well, let's head to the Benito Villamarín, where we'll have a moment's reflection. OK, it's Betis versus Barcelona, Pep Guardiola's last La Liga game in charge. There for us, Terry Gibson and Kevin Keatings.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a highly charged Benito Villamarín Stadium. Excellent crowd has turned out here to witness the end of a league era for Barcelona under Pep Guardiola, stretched over 4 magnificent seasons. And the home fans turning up as well to say well done to the players who came up from the 2nd division last season and have survived into another year amongst the elite. It's been a successful season for Betis on a ground where Barcelona certainly haven't had it all their own way lately. Betis have a good, decent league record over their opponents. And Barcelona's last visit here was a 3-1 defeat in the Copa del Rey when Betis were in the 2nd division. Some good players in there, Jefferson Montero, Beñat and Cañas in midfield. Castro has been a proven scorer at the highest level so far this season, facing a Barcelona side that has Victor Valdés back in goal, because Pinto would have started but for a sprained ankle in training, which makes him a slight doubt now, Pinto, for the Copa del Rey final. It's a race against time to be fit for that against Athletic Bilbao. And good to see that Messi will sign off under Pep Guardiola in terms of the league tonight with yet another start. Fascinating to see whether he can add to his record-breaking 50 league goals this season and 72 in all competitions. Well, Terry, you know this stadium very well, used to scout around these parts for Manchester City and Bolton. It's a great atmosphere.
Yes, it is. It's party time in the Benito Villamarín, and rightly so. Promotion season backed up by a real solid first season back in the top flight. It's where they should be, Real Betis, and the supporters here tonight to party and enjoy the fact that Pepe Mel summed it up perfectly and said that him and his players can sit there tomorrow with a beer and watch the relegation dogfight from a distance. They don't need much excuse to party in this part of Spain either.
Yeah, that's certainly right, and as well as a possible scalp in the shape of Barcelona, there's still the possibility that Betis can finish above their city neighbours, and that will be a feather in that man's cap if they were to outdo Sevilla, who've largely put Betis in the shade in recent years. This is Adriano, now Keita. His future, Seydou Keita, not certain to be in a Barcelona shirt next season. Well, he always does a very capable job whenever Pep Guardiola has called upon the Malian international. Here's Dani Alves. He still looks fit enough at 32. I don't think it's an age issue with Keita. I'm wondering, Terry, whether you think there should be an issue at all whether he stays at Barcelona next season.
No, the only issue I can see, Kevin, is the fact that he might think he might be elsewhere playing regular first-team football as a first-choice player. And I think Tito Villanova would do anything in his power to keep him at the club. Fantastic professional. He's been excellent backup for the midfield trio, Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets. He's been here since day one, hasn't he, under Pep Guardiola? Been very much instrumental in the success they've had.
There's a problem here for Mascherano. Pep Guardiola and Tito Villanova will be wincing at any defensive injuries. Carlos Puyol is out. Also won't make the Copa del Rey final. The Barcelona captain, he's undergone knee surgery this week. Almost certainly out of the Euros as well. Piqué only just coming back into the team after a recent head injury, severe concussion, partnering Mascherano at the back. Here's Ibrahim Afellay. First start for 12 months after lengthy injury problems himself. This is Pedro. Cleared comfortably by Dorado, seized upon hungrily by Alves. Now Xavi, Dani Alves. Stroke forward neatly by Cañas. Taken on here by Ruben Castro. Keita. Afellay. Mascherano looking none the worse for that earlier knock. Messi nicely into the path here of Alves. Back with Messi. Interception was from Cañas initially. Castro. Beñat. Montero just seemed to back out of that challenge against Adriano. Xavi Hernandez. Pedro. First save of the game. Castro down to meet the Pedro shot well. Another player who's had his injury problems, Terry, this season, Pedro, but 4 goals in his last 8 appearances. He's looking at his sharpest again.
Yep, and here we see him doing what he does best, taking defenders on. Shooting with his left foot, not afraid to cut inside on his weaker foot. I think it's been a poor season by his standards in terms of goal output, but he has suffered from injuries. I think Pep lost faith in him a little bit, with the youngsters Cuenca and Teo coming in and doing such a good job. And I think a fully fit Pedro and playing with confidence is a real asset to Barcelona and to the starting 11.
One of his biggest assets is his ability to work back out of possession. Barcelona have missed that at times in important stages. Here's Messi. Oh, lovely pass for Afellay. Casto out to meet him.
It's absolutely top-class goalkeeping. We rave about shot-stopping, goalkeepers coming for crosses, but he's seen and spotted a wonderful pass there that Messi was trying to thread through to Afellay, beat the defender. Casto did so well to be alert, sweep up, make sure that Afellay couldn't get a convincing finish in.
It's a well-worn phrase in football that teams that are promoted tend to benefit from the momentum. That's certainly the case with Betis. They were the only side to win the opening 4 league games of the season. Sat on top of the table for a little spell, looking down on the rest. And there's a misunderstanding there between Palau and Casto. It's a gift of a corner, this, to Barcelona. Should have been dealt with rather better. But after winning those first 4 games of the season, Betis should just 1 point from the next 10. In by Xavi, and the header's in! What a brilliant goal from Busquets! It's his first league goal of the season. And he couldn't have guided that any better.
It was a cheap corner to give away from Real Betis in the first place. In all honesty, they don't have too many big players from Barcelona to have to mark. 3 players in the box against 3, 4, 6 Real Betis defenders. Busquets, Keita and Piqué, the only 3 to pick up. And they make a real mess of it. Busquets darts across the near post, glances ahead of goalwards, creeps in towards the far post. Certainly nothing Casto could have done about it.
Well, he just ran off his apparent marker, Palau, so easily. And Cañas just didn't see Busquets. He was watching the flight of the Xavi corner. Nacho. Plenty of time here for Adriano. Alves did very well to keep that in. Now Xavi.
It was a tactical problem, I think, that Pepe Mel's going to have to deal with. He's outnumbered in midfield. He tried to play 2 up front. Pozuelo and Ruben Castro, wide players in Montero and Jonathan Pereira. But it just leaves Beñat and Cañas in midfield, centre of midfield. It's a huge area for them to cover. And therefore Barcelona getting too easy possession in midfield, and they find it too easy to get towards the heart of the Real Betis back 4. In particular, down the middle.
Good touch under pressure from Castro. Pereira trying to take it on, met by Mascherano. Nacho settles for a Real Betis throw. Here's Pereira. Lost out tamely to Keita. Barcelona, after tonight, will have almost 2 weeks to prepare for the Copa del Rey final. And Pep Guardiola will go in search of his 14th trophy in 4 seasons against Athletic Bilbao.
Challenge from Mascherano, fair challenge. Does make contact with Pereira, but he's going to. He makes that challenge, follows through, but clearly won the ball.
Just a little slow in getting his clearance away there. Ball drifted out via Piqué. Cañas. Nacho. That was a good cross, but no takers for Real Betis. This is Montero. He'd been more awake, Jefferson Montero. He could have been attacking the far post there. It's a terrific ball in from Pereira. No green and white shirt anywhere near it. Keita. Piqué. Back with Seydou Keita. Messi. Dani Alves. Away by Dorado. Far as Cañas. Free kick against Piqué.
See Piqué get too tight there to Ruben Castro. Needs to find his match fitness, match sharpness. He was out of favour, wasn't he, for the big games prior to his injury. Now with Puyol injured, going to miss the final. It's an obvious choice, isn't it? Piqué and Mascherano at the back, so he needs to be fit, sharp.
Only Piqué's second start in the last 10 games in all competitions. Problem here for Afellay. I think he might have a dislocated finger there, judging by his body language. Tend to try and pop those straight back in if it is a dislocation.
See, he's trying to tussle with Chica there. So he must have picked up the injury. Not quite sure why he had to lay down on the floor with an injured finger.
The man on the other side of Pep Guardiola is, of course, the new Barcelona coach. Will be, come the start of next season, Tito Villanova. Players trust him implicitly, known to be tactically astute. And, of course, the new man will be very keen to stamp his authority right from the beginning of next season. Spanish press this week reporting that the next La Liga season will kick off on the weekend of August the 19th, a little earlier than some seasons in the past. Here's Messi. He's looking for the run there of Keita. Now Beñat. Adriano, watch that carefully. Adriano getting a good run in the Barcelona side at left back because of the serious illness for Eric Abidal and that liver transplant. Pep Guardiola visited him in hospital this week and took along a book of goodwill messages from players and Barcelona staff generally. It's going to be a long recovery for Abidal, but we understand his spirits are good and we continue to wish him well. Extremely popular member of the Barcelona dressing room.
Just watching there how Betis are dealing with the threat of Barcelona. Benyat just flicks it round the corner. It does strike Messi on the arm. 2 quick appeals, and Betis allowed to get on with the game.
Messi. Never troubling Castro.
First time Messi tonight. Messi's had any real sight on goal. And a shooting opportunity. Cuts across the ball there.
Well, we'd normally be saying this man will be in charge of the Pichichi come the end of the season. But we've learned to take nothing for granted in terms of goal statistics when Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are around. The gap between them is 5 goals going into the last weekend of the season. But almost certainly it will be Messi. Previous best for league goals in a season was set only last season, 40. Messi on 50, Ronaldo on 45. There's a brilliant pass from Xavi. Here's Alves. Picked off really well by Montero. He's then given it away, and it's back foot again. Busquets. Xavi. Pedro. Not a good clearance by Palau. Afellay. He's caught there by Chica. It's not a position in which you want to give Barcelona some encouragement.
A bit impetuous with his challenge there, right in front of the referee. The problem there with retaining possession of the ball, though. Real Betis, 3 or 4 occasions they won it back, gave it straight back again to Barcelona. Indeed, weren't working that hard, so have to try and get the ball back.
Usual pairing of a Barcelona set piece, Xavi and Messi. It's Xavi! Well, a goalkeeper at full stretch, and that wasn't too far away. He's already created his best season for goals, 14, 10 of them in the league. And that was nearly another.
Castro alarmed enough to dive full length, just inches past the post. And Xavi was unlucky from the midfield player of Barcelona. Castro mightily relieved to see it past the post. I think he might have had it covered, though. But he certainly was diving full length.
14 goals, Terry, for Xavi. An excellent return from midfield. Of course, his principal job out there is not to provide the goals, but he's certainly weighed in with more than his fair share from the position that he adopts. He's played a lot of games this season. He's played a lot in Pep Guardiola's reign. It's good to see him out there because he is suffering from a chronic Achilles problem. They've patched him up, they've got him out here. We expect him to start the Copa del Rey final. I just wonder next season whether they're going to have to use Xavi Hernandez a little more sparingly.
Pretty sure they will, Kevin. There is a nudge there from Piqué, and Pereira throws himself on the ground and stupidly hits the advertising board. No, I think you're right. Now, looking at Xavi tonight, he's playing in a much more advanced position. He's comfortable with the fact that Keita and Busquets, more defensively minded midfield players than he used to playing with. Normally just one of them. He's a defensive minded midfield player, but tonight he's got both behind him and he's just full throttle. He's going forward, he's looking for goals, looking to cause havoc in the attacking half of the pitch. At his age, it's not old by any means, but the amount of games that he's played in the last 4 or 5 years, it's going to take a toll. chronic Achilles injury. He's no fun, I can tell you that for sure. Of course, straight from this, he's going to be involved with Spain in the European Championships. He's probably playing 60 games a season for the last 4 or 5 years, which is hell of a lot.
Here's Beñat. Pereira. Another well-timed challenge from Mascherano.
Challenge, no complaints from Pereira. Mascherano's studs were showing.
Cañas. Keita. Adriano, one of 3 former Sevilla players, so they know this city very well. Adriano, Dani Alves and Seydou Keita. Played in many a derby against Betis. This is a good run. Flag stays down. It's an excellent run this from Ruben Castro. Looking in vain for the free kick. Apolai. Pocket of space here for Messi. Now Beñat. Caught there by Pedro.
Here we see the challenge from Mascherano. Ruben Castro. There's a shove in the chest. I think it's enough there for the free kick to be given to Real Betis. On a couple of occasions, I think they've been denied good set-piece opportunities.
Given away cheaply by Adriano. This is Palau, now Cañas. Pereira. Keita. And the sting taken off the shot by Brazilian Palau.
Keita decided to shoot from distance, so Afellay was a better option, spreading the ball out wide.
There's been some talk that Real Betis are going to take up an option to buy Palau, the Brazilian centre-back, currently on loan from the French club Saint-Étienne. Also understand that Betis are going to sign Luis Pereira, who's come to the end of his career with Atletico Madrid, the experienced Colombian centre-back, on a 2-year deal. This is Messi. It's Palau who's there to close off Alves with the help of Nacho.
Palau has been an excellent signing, hasn't he, in the January window. He's brought some real solidity to the centre of the defence for Betis.
Fed in by looking for Pedro. Just too much on the cross, but applause anyway from Pedro for the attempt. Europe's hottest city, enjoying very pleasant mid-May temperatures. It's very much shirt sleeve, the order of the evening. Barcelona leading through the first league goal of the season, headed in from a Xavi corner by Sergio Busquets. Pedro losing out. Pass too long for Ruben Castro.
Seeing Messi drop really deep tonight. Most of the occasions so far in this match that there hasn't been a centre forward for Barcelona. We know that happens quite frequently, but tonight it's been up to other players to go and step into that position. Pedro's in there now. Xavi's been playing more advanced than Lionel Messi.
Here's Jonathan Pereira. Castro. Afellay. Here's Messi. Xavi goes on ahead of him again. Ibrahim Afellay. Appeals for handball. Messi allowed to continue. This is Keita. Xavi. Palau. Away by Chica, only as far as Adriano. Kenyas.
Nice better from Betis defensively. Wide players tucking back into more orthodox midfield play positions.
Here's Messi. Busquets looking for the run of Messi. He'll stay alive here with Keita. Alves onside. And a goal kick. A rather fortunate final ricochet off Dani Alves.
Tracking runners, isn't it, for Betis? Dani Alves there. Just about gets away with the offside decision. Likewise, Lionel Messi just about gets away with a handball.
Not sure how.
Clearly hits him on the bicep.
Half an hour gone in which Betis have not troubled Victor Valdés. Castro hasn't exactly been overworked at the other end. One very good rush from his line with the score at 0-0, but he has been beaten by that header from Busquets. Barcelona on top, but not overwhelmingly so. Certainly not in terms of the chances they're creating. Champions sign off their season Sunday, don't miss that. Real Madrid will be presented with the trophy and the final Revista de la Liga of the season, with all the fallout from another brilliant La Liga campaign. 5:30 Tuesday. Extended Revista, that is, as well. 90 minutes long. Oh, it's a decent save. Perhaps made into one for the cameras by Castro, but he had to get across to deny Adriano.
Really good attacking play from Barcelona left back, Adriano. As good a two-footed player as you'll see in football. It's always a risk when you allow him to cut inside. Shooting opportunity was there. Just needed to start it out a little bit further beyond the post to curl back in.
And this could be the first booking of the night. Dani Alves. Referee Isaac Gámez, I think he knew the moment he made the challenge.
It was against Jefferson Montero, and Pepe Mel, after about 20 minutes, swapped the wide players over. Pereira came over to the right, Montero went to the left, and I think that's because Montero's quicker. And he can deal with the pace of Dani Alves coming forward on that flank. And Pepe Mel will still be hoping that Montero can give Dani Alves a problem or two going forward.
Decent ball by Pozuelo. This is Pereira. Had a chance there. Exasperation from the crowd and his teammates. Just wanted to try and dribble. He had an easy pass to his left there, Pereira. It's one of the best positions that Betis have created in this first half and wasted. Mascherano. Xavi. Dani Alves. He'll have some international football to play in June, as will the man who receives this pass, Lionel Messi. In fact, they'll be on opposite sides. It's a high-profile international friendly, in inverted commas, Brazil-Argentina in early June. As a corner is forced there by Afellay. Chico with a final touch. It's from this side, of course, where we produced the only goal of the first half, from a Xavi corner across to take one again.
You can see there the defensive lineup from the set pieces for Real Betis. 6 players in now. There's only 3 to mark. So Busquets got free.
Keita attacks the near post this time. Well, Xavi was intending to play that ball outside the penalty area, but I think it was meant for Messi and it was way beyond him. Keita. Poor pass from Piqué. Ruben Castro. Pereira's shot bravely blocked by Mascherano. That's a foul on Messi, no question, by Cañas. There's a little moment though when Ruben Castro offloaded a pass inside the Barcelona penalty area, where the crowd thought there might have been a claim for a penalty. That was certainly a free kick.
Cañas knowing as well that Barcelona had weaved their way out of a little bit of trouble and were on the verge of a counter-attack. You see Ruben Castro, there's very minimal contact from Piqué. He does dangle his leg out. It doesn't take much for Ruben Castro to go down.
Certainly worth a shout.
It wasn't great defending from Piqué though, was it? Very flat-footed. He wasn't on his toes. He risks it by sticking his left leg out there. I think there's just slight contact, but is that enough to warrant a foul?
Another referee on another night could well have given a different decision. Here's Messi. Afellay making a good run. Opened up the space here for Messi. And Palau met him, and met him well and decisively. A lovely run from Afellay there that opened up that room for Messi to make that driving movement into a shooting position.
Ronaldo's brilliant here. Like us, he's seen this run so many occasions this season. From right to left, Messi running across defenders and Palau tracked him. It's a brilliant block as well.
Messi's corner. Palau's header away. Alves. Montero. Well timed by Piqué.
Betis need a little spell of attacking play, or at least try and create a half chance just to fire themselves up. Barcelona seem content with the 1-goal lead. Betis, quite frankly, at the moment, seem content just to be the 1 goal behind. I'd like to see Betis have a real go at it, though. Final home game of the season. In front of their own supporters, really take on one of the big boys and give a performance to be proud of at the moment. They're trying to contain Barcelona. They're playing within themselves. Ruben Castro and Pozuelo, the attacking players, haven't had much service.
Here's the goal scorer, Busquets. Afellay. Adriano. Piqué. Keita. Good ball from Benyat. He's onto it again here, and he had a chance to play Pereira in there. And the pass was going to be delivered if it had got through, perfectly timed. And luckily for Barcelona, they got a vital interception. Here's Afellay. Xavi. And again Xavi. Alves. Lovely cross. Castro at full stretch to prevent it reaching Messi. Adriano. Away comes Chica. Cañas. Pereira. Decent run from Montero. Pereira. Mascherano. 3 or 4 very tidy interventions from the Argentine in this first half. There's Pedro. Or rather Alves. Pedro is wide of him. He's going to be found here now by Xavi. Easily away from Nacho. Slight deflection on the cross. Should be a corner, and is.
How quick was that step over from Pedro? Just drops the shoulder, does a little step over. Completely clear of Nacho. Did well to pull his foot out there, so he was mesmerised that much that it wouldn't have been a total surprise if Nacho just brought Pedro down there. For what would have been a penalty. As it is, it's Xavi surveying the corner. Piqué tapped that well. Busquets. Definite foul from Chica. It's a lunge in, isn't it? Not for the first time tonight, Chica. Barcelona have had a degree of success from set pieces, from corners so far. Xavi now. I don't think this represents a shooting chance, but I'd imagine he'll be firing this, swinging it inwards beyond that defensive line of Real Betis, hoping that one of the Barcelona players will be attacking it, getting across the keeper.
Right across the face of Castro's goal. And nobody in a Barcelona shirt able to put a sure touch on it. It was inviting enough.
That's exactly the technique I thought he was going to use, and it must be absolute murder for the keeper. He has to leave that right to the last split second in case someone gets a touch and he has to react to the deflection towards goal. Fortunately for Betis, deflection takes it away.
Barcelona have got a lot of height for once from set pieces, with the likes of Keita starting and Piqué back from injury. A free kick against Mascherano, who looks surprised. On first viewing, he did appear to just lean in there on Pereira.
I think this is a foul from Mascherano. Again, I'm not sure how much endeavour there is from Pereira to stay on his feet. Perhaps if he had got him with his shoulder against Mascherano, it might have been a 50-50.
Beñat's free kick, met by the head of Alves. I'll take your point, Terry, about Real Betis, free from any relegation trouble, can really have a go at this final league game of the season. Too often when I've seen them, it's been too little too late. Got some ability in the team, just always haven't had that self-belief, and here with nothing to lose and everything to gain in the mighty scalp of Barcelona, well, they're still in the game at half-time and have to believe that they can go at it in a more proactive mood in the second period. Chico has been just testing the referee's patience.
He was critical of Jonathan Pereira for going down too easily on the shoulder barge against Mascherano. He'll have to do the same there against Pedro. Sounding like Jerry Armstrong now, aren't I? I need a break.
Here's Busquets, now Piqué. Appeals for offside and given against Ibrahim Afellay. He's had a decent half. His first start for 12 months. Very nasty knee injury. It's kept him out for most of the season. It's only his fifth senior game of the campaign.
It was almost a perfect position he took up there, wasn't it? Shouldn't have been caught offside. As Piqué can find that pass.
More eagle-eyed among you may have spotted Rocky Santa Cruz amongst the Betis substitutes, currently on loan here from Manchester City. It's a good header by Ruben Castro. The touch from Montero wasn't quite what Betis needed. We had just the 1 minute of stoppage time, and Pep Guardiola's final league game in charge of Barcelona is going well so far. The first league goal of the season headed in via a Xavi corner for Sergio Busquets. Betis 0, Barca 1.
Yes, a comfortable, professional, if not spectacular performance, and Barca so much more. In terms of Pep Guardiola and his thoughts, has he got his team already set up for the Copa del Rey next Friday, or players playing for their places here?
I think he'll know 8 or 9 of them off the top of his head. As long as there's no injuries, there's 1 or 2 places maybe up for grabs, but I'm pretty sure he's got an idea what it should be, Scott.
OK, well, let's get back to the second half. Your commentary team, Terry Gibson and Kevin Keatings.
Well, welcome back. If there are 1 or 2 places for that Copa del Rey side, this 45 minutes could go a long way to determining those places. Some experience on the bench, of course, for Pep Guardiola in the shape of Iniesta and Fabregas. Otherwise, youngsters, Cuenca, Bartra, Montoya, Teo. Here's Montero. Busquets. Got a pass on here for Alves. And a single Barcelona player inside the penalty area. Eventually Afellay looked to make strides in there.
I do wonder at times, Kevin, the merits of Dani Alves crossing the ball. It just seems he can't resist it sometimes. He gets to the full-back tactic one and just whips across in. And as you made the point there, just one player in the box. It is the orthodox way of telling players to play in a wide position.
Xavi. Rocky Santa Cruz and Jorge Molina amongst the attacking substitute options for Real Betis in this second half. Pepe Mel has sent the same 11 out there, as has Guardiola. Messi's had a quiet game. That might spell danger for Real Betis.
Definitely here up against Chica. Barcelona awarded a corner.
Santa Cruz. Corner fed in by Xavi. Firmly out, quite the direction, but certainly enough distance from Castro's right fist. This is Keita. That's the left hand this time of Castro. It might just have been heading for the bottom corner of the net via Seydou Keita. Got down well there, the Betis goalkeeper. Montero into the path here of Pozuelo. Lovely pass here for Castro. And it's that man again, Javier Mascherano, his umpteenth interception. How well he read that, but there was initial space here for Castro. This is better from Betis.
That's more like it from Real Betis. Montero, Pozuelo, the player on the end of the chance that would wish to have in that position. Top scorer, Ruben Castro. Then we see Keita with the effort. Good save from Castro. Some opportunist effort there from Keita, but much better than attacking starts from Real Betis.
Benyat with the corner. Up goes Palau. Xavi did. And Busquets did a really good job in there to make sure that Valdez was protected. It was Palau who won the initial header.
Dani Alves does well to spot the danger. Palau loses Adriano. He puts the ball back in the danger area. Even Castro, as always, alert in and around the 6-yard box.
Actually came off Dani Alves' head under pressure from Palau, but Barcelona did enough. That's a good start to the second half from both sides. Montero. Decent turn, how can he find the cross? And it's a real disappointment, 3 teammates to hit.
Just lacks a little bit of quality at the end there. He has that quality, Jefferson Montero. Dani Alves had a much tougher time in the second half. The first half he was doing all the defensive duties expected of him. It'll be fascinating next season to see Tito Villanova on the bench being the one in charge.
Fed in by Ruben Castro. Pereira! Well, I just wonder whether he could have swung his right foot at this at the first time of asking.
I agree with you, Kevin. He takes the touch. Adriana gets close to him, and there's no power in the effort. Just scuffs the finish. Easy save for Valdez, but at least Valdez is having to get involved there, make saves. There was no attacking threat in the first half from Betis.
Here's Alves. Messi. Taken on by Keita. Just trying to toe poke that beyond Castro, who was right behind it. There's a very good tempo about the opening 6 minutes of the second half. Certainly Pepe Mel has sent his green and white shirted Betis players out with a little flea in the ear, I think. Let's show we're better than what we produced in the first half, and this is Ruben Castro. Valdez committed, and Valdez doing enough. But only just.
Just make the point that Valdez had very little to do in the first half. Now he's been called into action on 2, 3, 4 occasions in the second half. Much better from Real Betis. Excellent goalkeeping from Valdez. Be critical of the finish from Ruben Castro. Again, good goalkeeping from the Barca goalkeeper.
Like Leo Messi, Victor Valdez also looking for an individual award come the end of the season. That's the Zamora, which is given to the goalkeeper with the best defensive stats. And 4 goals better off than Real Madrid's Iker Casillas prior to tonight. So unless he concedes a remarkable amount of goals in the minutes that remain, Victor Valdez will win his 5th Zamora. That's a poor challenge by Dani Alves. And that's going to be a second yellow and a red card. Well, that is bordering on the ridiculous from Dani Alves when you're on a yellow card. In the circumstances of the match and where he is on the pitch, why on earth does he need to do this?
It's a straight red. Forget about the yellow cards. And he knows he's already been booked. Well, it's a wild lunge. It's a stupid decision to make that sort of challenge. It's not been that type of game at all, is it? Far from it. Why Dani Alves felt the need to do that, I really do not know.
Well, as a former Sevilla player, no hiding place for him right now. Well, only himself to blame. If he's shaking his head, he's shaking it in himself. In by Benyat, flicked off the head of Mascherano. Palau can leave this. It's a corner. Interesting to see if Pep Guardiola makes a switch now tactically and brings on a recognised right back. Got Montoya, yeah.
Yep, is the obvious choice, but we have seen Barcelona play this year on loads of occasions with just the 3 defenders.
Oh, lovely touch from Messi. Decent defending from Chica. Ruben Castro. Pereira's on the ground again. What a surprise.
Certainly got a game on there, though. Pepe Mel's rattled a few cages at half-time, and in turn then the Betis players have come out and done exactly that to Barcelona in the second half. Barcelona down to 10 men.
Busquets. Very good recovery. Fine challenge that from Busquets on Beñat. Here's Messi. Adriano. Barcelona players have reacted very positively since the announcement that Pep Guardiola would be leaving at the end of the season. Players were kept in the dark by the man who's led them to so much success over the last 4 years. They were genuinely moved, naturally unhappy that he's decided to call it a day, to take a well-earned rest. Nice work from Betis until that moment. Montero's touch let him down. He's pulled up as well as he tried to make strides into the Barcelona penalty area. Guardiola is going to bring on Montoya. It's Afellay who's going to make way. No surprise that he's not seen out the 90 minutes after all his problem. No, it's actually Montero's going to come off for Santa Cruz. Just thought for a moment it was Barcelona's number 20 that was being raised there for Montoya's arrival. No, it is Afellay. So we've lost both our number 20s. Montoya, natural right back. A bit of a blow for Betis. He's been a real threat in the second half so far, Montero. He would have been looking to capitalise, wouldn't he, on the fact that Dani Alves was no longer playing. Here's Messi. Pedro. Good starting position again by the goalkeeper Castro. Betis have pushed Pozuelo, who's been a stranger to this game, their number 35. He's dropped into the left-sided midfield role that Montero was adopting, which has allowed Santa Cruz to go up front or play just off Ruben Castro. Might give them more of a threat down the middle. You can see him pull up there, immediately signal to the bench that he's in no fit state to continue. Couldn't really make up our mind, could we, in the first half, where Pozuelo was playing? Was he just off the front? Was he up front? Didn't really have an impact or affect the game in any way, shape or form. Here's Messi. Busquets. Messi. Just a little pull there on Dorado. As well to intercept the touch from Lionel Messi, cuts across the striker, puts himself in a position where Messi really couldn't get the ball. Busquets. Sloppy pass from Beñat. I said at the outset, it hasn't been a good ground for Barcelona in recent times. They haven't won in the last 3 league visits here. Lost 1 and drawn 2. Their last victory in this stadium came back in 2005. And their goal scorers on that occasion were Samuel Eto'o with a couple, Mark van Bommel and Santi Esquerro. Remember those days? Seems longer ago than that, doesn't it?
decided to go with the back four and the midfield trio, and Xavi playing more alongside Keita and Busquets now. I think Messi and Pedro are going to try and beat the front line. He's still going to try and keep two up the pitch.
Piqué, he thought he could use Victor Valdez. Santa Cruz and Ruben Castro between them had blocked off the route. Sure, I'm right in saying that Dani Alves' red card won't affect his appearance in the Copa del Rey final, but of course his suspension will carry over into the start of the next La Liga season. Keita, Messi, Pedro, Pozuelo, Montoya there to pick his pocket.
There has been concern, hasn't there, with the future of Dani Alves, and a little bit of speculation regarding his future next season. Has been playing the last few games. Montoya been getting a chance. I don't know what Pep Guardiola thinks and considers about that decision from Dani Alves to make a reckless challenge like that in a match like this. He didn't know he picked up one yellow card, and that was a reckless challenge. It was sheer stupidity from the Brazilian fullback.
Of course, the naturally have started as to where Barcelona will strengthen for next season. You have to feel they're going to need to take the pressure off Messi to provide so many goals. Of course, he's only too glad to oblige, but if he were to pick up a serious injury, of course they've missed David Villa for a lot of this season, who would have weighed in with plenty, his usual quota at the very least. And then of course there's the defence, which has come in for a certain amount of criticism. You have to feel a centre-back will be on the way. They've been heavily linked with AC Milan's Thiago Silva, the Brazilian international. Interesting to see if that comes to fruition. They've long been admirers of Tottenham's Gareth Bale for a left-sided option, either at left-back or further forward. But an interesting summer lies ahead.
Yeah, fun and games all round, I believe. Plenty of speculation.
Of course, the other player who has been probably closer linked to Barcelona than anybody is Jordi Alba. His father and brother live on the suburbs of Barcelona. Of course, he was formerly with the La Masia Academy, the Spanish international, currently with Valencia. It'd be no surprise if Jordi Alba's wearing a Barcelona shirt next season. Off comes Pozuelo, and on comes Nono, who made his senior debut only last week in the defeat at Sporting Gijón. It's a straight swap in midfield. Here's Nacho. Ruben Castro. Santa Cruz. Couldn't get his feet sorted out under pressure, albeit from Mascherano. Pedro. Chance to stretch his legs here. Taking on all comers, Pedro. Piqué, who galloped up in open play. Nono. Castro. Going to beat the run of Pereira.
Not surprising to see Piqué gallop forward. Down to 10 men, 1-0 up. I'm not saying in the circumstances they should be keeping it nice and solid at the back and holding on to 3 points. It does show that PK wants to get involved. He just wants to try and prove his worth, prove his fitness to play in that big cup final.
Messi, Terry, just strolling through this game tonight, keeping his powder dry for the Copa del Rey final.
I think he's declared at 50 in the league, but I say that with 24 minutes to go.
And what a way to sign off Guardiola's final game at the Camp Nou last week with those 4 goals, a wonderful embrace with Guardiola during all the celebrations. And a very moving speech as well from Pep at the end of that match last week. Enduring images of what's been a fantastic reign. Hard for the man that follows, but we know he's excited, Tito Villanova. There's been some talk about his new assistant. Spanish press are heavily suggesting it's going to be Sergio Lobera, who's currently the head coach with the 3rd-tier club Ceuta and is a former Barcelona youth team coach for some 8 years. So Guardiola will be leaving the club, he feels, in very good hands. People who know the club extremely well, despite the best efforts of the Barca hierarchy to keep him. Here's now Nacho, deflected! And Piqué to help it away. The deflection was kind there. That could easily have gone in off Valdez, and he knows that.
It's the first time Nacho has been in the attacking half of the pitch, the Betis left back. It's down to the fact Dani Alves has gone. They're down to 10 men now. It can be a bit more adventurous. They need the fullbacks to try and get forward.
Can't rule out a Betis equaliser here. Pereira. Cañas. Nono, 19-year-old, has done well there. Not a bad attempt to try and slip in Santa Cruz, Ruben Castro.
Good attacking play again from Betis this time. Nacho, deflection at near post. Mascherano. Barcelona eventually get it clear. It was Nono involved in that attack. It's the first time I've seen the youngster play. He's not afraid to get on the ball immediately against Barcelona. Take a player on. He almost finds another pass there for Ruben Castro.
Still the possibility of a top 10 finish for Betis. They'll have to win here and then hope for results to go their way elsewhere on Sunday, when virtually all of the last round of La Liga games will be played, including the champions Real Madrid, who finish up with a home game against Mallorca, where Jose Mourinho's side, if they win, will create a new La Liga record of 100 points, surpassing the 99 that Barcelona posted in winning the title 2 seasons ago.
It's good to see the young players at Betis get the opportunity in the top flight of football. It's an area that really does produce good young players. See Pozuelo playing tonight. He's 20 years of age. Nono has come on, 19. As Sergio Rodriguez, a 19-year-old midfield player on the bench, along with Super, a 20-year-old centre-back as well.
He ought to be good, with a name like that.
He has to be. And young Alvaro Vadillo, didn't they, at 16 this year?
The flag stays down, header on by Santa Cruz. It's Ruben Castro. You just sense that it might be coming, and it's arrived via the top scorer, Ruben Castro. Said at the outset of the season he'd be happy with 15 goals. It's 15 up, and it's 1-1 at the Benito Villamarín.
I'm sure the opposition's number 10 would have admired that finish. Ruben Castro through on goal. Victor Valdez bearing down on him. And the top striker for Real Betis this year doesn't disappoint. Hasn't had too many opportunities this year. Flick on from Santa Cruz. And make Castro in an onside position. And it's a little dink over the goalkeeper. Victor Valdez concedes a goal. Barcelona conceded an equaliser. Betis' performance in the second half fully deserved to be back on level terms. They've had a right good go at it in the second half. Been much more enjoyable to watch their performance, and it had to be him that got the goal.
He's come of age this season at the highest level. 30 years old, Ruben Castro. Number of clubs gave him a try earlier in his career in La Liga. He was a 1 in 8 striker prior to this season. It's now 15 in 34 league appearances this. Always good to see players that have had chances, not taken them, given one last opportunity. And Ruben Castro has most certainly taken his. It's an excellent return. As Isidoro is going to come on, he's a right back. It's a straight swap here for Chica. Isidoro returning after a 4-month injury absence.
It's a wise decision. Pepe Mel, I think, Chica was being booked and was 1 or 2 more challenges. He himself could have picked up the second yellow. No need to take the risk. They've got the momentum now, Real Betis. Real concern there for Pep Guardiola.
He naturally wants to go out on a high.
Of course.
And it would be fitting. They're going to have to work for it. Montoya. Pedro. Offside. Ruben Castro, flag stays down again. Can he finish? Yes, he can! It's another superb goal for Ruben Castro. Valdez left exposed. And who could have forecast this at half-time? Betis 2, Barcelona 1.
Who could have forecast it 10 minutes ago? They were much better in the second half, but they really didn't have an end product. They were desperate to get this player a chance or two. He's done that. 2 chances, 2 goals for the top striker. You have to say it's awful defending. Piqué caught out of position. Montoya tries to play offside, and he's got no right to. Santa Cruz has made a difference. He's just shook up the 2 central defenders for Barcelona. Ruben Castro gets forward there, one-on-one via the goalkeeper. Supreme levels of confidence, enjoying his football. See, Piqué goes to Santa Cruz, Montoya's too deep, then tries to play offside. There's a massive hole down the centre of defence, and a player full of confidence, has the technical ability, and he makes no mistake to give Betis the lead.
Oh, great noise all around this stadium now. With every good reason. 2 goals in a matter of a couple of minutes or so for Ruben Castro. Now that's what you call a good summer holiday if you end up by beating Barcelona. Teo. As soon as we get a stoppage, he's going to be on for 10-man Barcelona. Certainly paying the price at the moment for that Dani Alves sending off. In needless circumstances.
The crowd are enjoying themselves. We said that at the onset they were here to party. They didn't have much to cheer about in the first half. And I knew whatever the score, if Betis had a go in the second half, if they lost, going down having a fight against Barcelona with no pressure on, the crowd would forgive them. They've had a fantastic couple of seasons. Now they find themselves 2-1 ahead.
And Barcelona tight possession until that moment. Santa Cruz gave it away. And here comes Teo. Pedro's going to make way. Very much a breakthrough season for 20-year-old Christian Teo. As Terry mentioned earlier, often getting the nod over Pedro. Comes on for his 22nd senior game of the season, Teo. Some eye-catching performances along the way. 7 goals. If you think Pedro's quick, you've not seen Teo, keep an eye on him. Adriano. Montoya. Busquets. Here's Messi. Still time for some of his sorcery. Far from over yet. Montoya. Seydou Keita. Busquets. Xavi. Once again the goalkeeper alive to the impending danger. Top class from Castro again. Well, Barcelona have lost only 11 of 151 league games under Pep Guardiola. His win record an amazing 77% in the league. But they've work to do in the final 10 minutes or so here. Xavi, good support from Montoya. And now Messi. Fullback not used. It was an excellent run. It's a free kick. He's calling on Iniesta shortly. As the final Barcelona change. Beñat, meantime, has picked up a yellow card for the challenge there on Mascherano. Santa Cruz, Nono, Nacho. PK always getting there ahead of Jonathan Pereira. Just enough pressure though. by Pereira to make sure that Barcelona stay hemmed in.
Been ruffled all night, Gerard Piqué, and he just doesn't look at it at the moment. For 3 years, I think he's been the best century defender in the world, but this season it's very hit and miss. He's had good patches. Majority of spells where he's played this season haven't been great. He picked up that injury against Chelsea in the Champions League second leg.
As you said earlier, Terry, he's going to have to play in the Copa del Rey final. Probably wouldn't have done, almost certainly, if Puyol hadn't picked up a knee problem. Well, he has been suffering with that for a while. It's just eventually needed surgery, and they couldn't delay it any longer. He went under the knife this week, Puyol, and set to miss the European Championships. David Villa still in a race against time to be part of Vicente Del Bosque's squad. No way through for Messi, who's had one of the quietest games I can remember. Irene amongst the onlookers there. Looks as though he got on the wrong side of the officials. He's the captain of Betis, but set to leave at the end of the season. Xavi off, Iniesta on. And a standing ovation for Andres Iniesta from the Real Betis fans. I think some of that applause for that man, Xavi Hernandez, as well. But for however long he kicks a ball, Iniesta will be feted all around Spain for that goal in the World Cup final.
I thought it was the wrong decision, completely the wrong decision. He gets himself back into an onside position when the ball is played, when the ball is passed. I guess you would have to say that Piqué was largely at fault for the second goal. He went to go short with Santa Cruz, but wasn't ever going to get there. In fact, he dropped into no man's land, meant there was a massive hole. I'm not sure where Mascherano was. Montoya panicked, tried to play offside when he clearly couldn't do it. You see the flick up. Santa Cruz, Ruben Castro for the first effort. Brilliant finish. We see Piqué just switches off. Then he realises Santa Cruz is never going to get there. Should have stayed at home in the centre defence. Mascherano gets caught out of position. Adriano can't get across. Real shoddy defending from Barcelona. Tell you what, they're going to have to tighten up at the back against Athletic Bilbao in the Copa del Rey final. Looks of Llorente will be a threat, and the Herrera.
Well, this win, if it is going to be 3 points for Real Betis, will take them level on 49 points with their city rivals Sevilla. And they've got a better head-to-head record, courtesy of their win at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan earlier this month with a couple of goals from Beñat. Sevilla's final match is on Sunday away to Espanyol, who've been in terrible form in the second half of the season. In fact, if the season had begun at halfway, Espanyol would have been one of the 3 relegated teams. So still a possibility of Betis finishing in the top 10. That would be their first top 10 finish in La Liga since 2005, when they finished 4th and got into the Champions League the following season. Remember them giving Liverpool and Chelsea problems in the Champions League here.
They beat Chelsea.
Yep. Slipped down to the second division for a couple of seasons, but even then these fans were with them. Here's Messi, Iniesta. Good pressure on Adriano. Santa Cruz can open this out for Pereira. Just failed to steady himself there. Got a little excited, Jonathan Pereira.
It really has been a terrific season for Betis. As you said, in the first 4 games, and a real rough period. They've come back really well. Fantastic support. Massive stadium. You have to be here to appreciate how big it is and how much support they have.
Well, holds around 56,000. There must be at least 50,000 in here. Teo. Not on the same wavelength there as Iniesta. Silly free kick given away by Benyat.
It's 1:45 here.
It's going to be a noisy night in the city of Seville. Whatever transpires in the remaining minutes to celebrate, as Terry rightly says, a successful season, survival. Chance to consolidate and build from here. Had their financial problems, still have financial problems. Santa Cruz's future has a big question mark against it, still a Manchester City player. Not played enough, I don't think, to be hanging around here next season. Roque Santa Cruz, I might be wrong. This is Benyat.
So many other Betis players, though, haven't played it a great deal at this level. Talked about Ruben Castro. He's had 3 relegations from the top flight: Las Palmas, Albacete and Nastic Tarragona. But the likes of Benyat, Cañas, Salva Sevilla, who's not playing tonight, really their first crack at top flight football. They'll be so much better for it. More confidence, more belief.
'90th minute. And Messi. Caught there by Cañas. Well, he bought one for the team there. That was looking dangerous as Messi was in full flight.
It's taken a long time for Messi to really get going, and he knows the urgency now, time running out. Cañas knew exactly what he was doing.
His league career with Barcelona started with a defeat at Numancia back in 2008 and is on the cusp of finishing with a defeat here at the Benito Villamarin Stadium, unless the man who's dragged Barcelona out of a few holes in the 4 years under Pep can deliver here. Oh, it's off the post and Castro beaten. Iniesta, Piqué onside.
Just ride their luck slightly there, Real Betis. Terrific free kick from Lionel Messi. Then Piqué puts the ball to a perfect position in the 6-yard box. Not enough Barcelona players in there.
Iniesta. Adriano. Free kick against Pereira.
Great technique. Casto again, going full length. I don't think he was going to get that.
Here's Montoya. Keita! 2-2. They were determined that Pep wasn't going to end his La Liga reign with defeat. It's Seydou Keita, with just about 90 seconds of stoppage time played. Looks as though we're going to end up all square.
Just made the point, didn't I? Casto wasn't going to get the free kick effort from Lionel Messi, and he ain't going to get this header from Seydou Keita. That's what it needed, someone to take up a position as a centre forward, as a genuine attacker in the box, on a high cross coming into the box from Montoya. Keita, we know, carries a threat in the out, not the biggest of players. A real good jumper, great determination, determined at all costs there, even if he got injured, so throw himself at it. Get an equaliser for Barcelona.
Oh, without question, Betis have deserved a point, if that's what it's to be. But you can never, ever discount this Barcelona team when it comes to scoring goals. It's 114 for them now in the league this season. Would have been another record had it not been for Real Madrid. It's 183 under Guardiola this season alone. Pepe Mel left to rue that late drama and the Keita header after an excellent second half performance from his team. They were pretty anemic in the first 45. Barcelona themselves, for large swathes of this match, appeared to be just going through the motions, but they've lifted their performance in the final few minutes and were in added on time in stoppage time. Iniesta. Montoya's free. Still Iniesta, now it's with Montoya. And that's it. The La Liga season is over for Real Betis and Barcelona. And Pep Guardiola's league reign ends after 4 magnificent years. 3 titles, has to settle for runner-up to Real Madrid, but it's only 11 league defeats in 152 games, and the Copa del Rey final still to come. An excellent second half, a wonderful atmosphere, and a fitting finale in a well-contested game, ultimately, in which Pepe Mel's Real Betis have held Barcelona to a 2-2 draw.
Yes, Pep Guardiola will be disappointed with that second half performance, and especially the sending off of Dani Alves, but he will be proud that his last La Liga game didn't end in a loss. Late goal from Keita, and they probably deserved at least a point in the end.